Welcome back, guys, to the highlight video of round number 7 of the Metropa Cup. The tournament is coming to an end, only 2 more rounds to be played. The 8th round is going to start actually in about 2 hours. And we can already say who is most likely to win the events by now. In the open section, it's still quite a close run between France and Italy, both having the same match points and also very close on the board points. So this is going to be really interesting to follow. In the women's section, it's already a bit more clear with Ukraine having a 3-point lead over Switzerland. So there, I think it's going to be quite difficult for the other teams to catch up. Now, in today's game recap, a big surprise again, I'm showing a game by the board number 1 of Austria, Lukas Dotzer, who again won a very nice attacking game. Basically out of the opening, he got a winning position, and his performance so far is really impressive. He scored 5.5 out of 7. Not even sure what is his rating performance, but it's probably close to 2700 by now, or at least 2660 or something like that. However, I was informed that it might not even be enough for him to fulfill his GM title by making a norm in this tournament, because he might still need an open norm, which I haven't confirmed just yet, but I think it's quite likely, because as far as I remember, his other norms came from closed round robin tournaments, and I don't think that this Metropa Cup counts as an open tournament, because it would be quite logical that it doesn't. So that would of course be a shame, but if he continues playing on this level as he is here, I don't think there's any doubt that he's going to fulfill his final GM norm very soon. Austria, by the way, was able to win their match against Slovakia due to Dotzer's win on board number 1. The other games finished in draws. So far, like, what I can say about the Austrian team's performance in general is that probably they're not that satisfied. I think Lukas is the only player in the team who can be satisfied, more than satisfied with the result. Otherwise, my student Peter Balland was not able to win a game just yet. Some of the games Peter has played, or I think most of the games he played in a very solid fashion, but for some reason he wasn't able yet to capitalize on his opponent's mistakes, and I think he's on -2 right now. And also Lawrence Bormann and Florentin Stickler, board number 3 and board number 4, I don't think that they've won so many games so far, so they are of course probably not that satisfied. Also, the team is, I think, on the 8th rank so far. Of course, all of them are, I think, pretty new to the whole team event experience. I think it's for all of them, not for all of them. Some of them already played in the previous Metropa Cup, where I was also there. I think Peter and Lukas both played there already, so experience, of course, also matters quite a lot when you're playing those team events. Anyway, let's go to the game which I want to show you. Lukas is usually an e4 player, but now also throws in quite a bit of d4 just to make, well, I'm guessing to make his opponent's preparation a bit more difficult. By the way, his opponent, Philipp Haring, is, I think, born in 2003. Similar to my age, maybe 2004. And I think he's been a grandmaster now for like 1 or 2 years, usually around the 2500 level. That's all I can say about him for now. Yeah, so if Lukas plays d4, he usually goes for the Nimzo. He had quite a bit of games here, and quite often with some f3 systems. I've also seen some games where he went for this system with bishop d3, d5, a3, but he likes to play with a3 quite quickly, which I think makes a lot of sense for him because he's a very dynamic player. So in this system, he went for, in this game, he went for the, I think it's called the Kmoch system. I think it's very often confused that f3, people call it the same-ish, but as far as I'm aware, the same-ish is actually to start with a3. But please correct me if I'm wrong with that. He started with f3. His opponent went for the move d5. And after a3, he took and went c6, which is a line I actually checked quite recently also for the black side, because I think the whole idea is quite practical to play with this. So first of all, the idea with c6, it looks a bit strange, but the point is that now if white takes on d5, you want to take back with the c pawn. And in this structure, then black's plan is always going to be to play b6, bishop a6, just to exchange white's bishop pair. And the good thing about the system is that you can actually at least try to play it against many different move orders. For example, another way to get it would be here. After a3, you can take and then go c6. And usually white doesn't really have anything better than to get to the following position. Have to take at some point, and then something like this could appear. When white, of course, can play e4, and the dark squared bishop can be good, but it can also be not so good, like very reminding of the French, this whole position. Black has a couple of moves here, but let's just say black goes h6 to stop bishop g5, white goes e5, knight d7. It gives us a very French type of position. Usually when white goes f4, black wants to reply with f5, and black does have some play on the c file, and yes, the c4 square. Position should be around equal, but I think it's kind of an underestimated system, and also the practical point of view is to be acknowledged. And another system where you can play it against is a3, which I actually had in the Czech League before, just 1 or 2 months ago, where I went for b6. But it's actually also possible to play c6 here, which I was briefly considering in my game against Nemeth. It looks a bit strange, but again, the idea is if you start with d5, then white can take, and then black has to take back with the e-pawn, and this exact position is what I would usually like to avoid, because white has the very simple plan to play for f3, e4. And even though it's possible to make it work with strong engines here, I just don't really like this for black. It just seems like white's play is very easy here. But it is possible to start with c6 also here, and I don't think white has anything better than to go for bishop d3, d5, and again we are in the same position. After f3, like in the game, it is also possible to play like this. But the only downside is now that white has an extra option, which is e4, which is also chosen by Lucas. And this is quite... black has to be quite careful here, and I assume that Haring was not so familiar with the system. I think he reacted well at first. He took and went e5 here. Knight f3 was played. Lucas still in book, I think, until queen d3. Bishop g4 also should be the correct move here. And after queen d3, he took on d4, which I think is one option. I think the other option is knight bd7. I'm actually not 100% sure what I had in my file here. If I checked knight bd7 or e takes d4, I think e d4 was also an option. After knight bd7, you're not releasing the tension just yet, but here white could have the option to take on e5. I think there were 1 or 2 correspondence games here, which I had a look at. Was it knight h5 or knight g8? And something like this should be one of the critical positions. But I still think that e d4, which was played, followed by c5, is also correct. But after the move d5 here, black should probably castle first. Knight bd7 was played by Haring, because now knight takes e4 immediately could be an idea. If bishop b2 is played like it was in the game, I guess black can take. Queen takes e4, rook e8. And it's actually not so simple after knight e5 how it can continue. But maybe queen a5 is now working. Queen a5 check, and if king d2, there's queen d2 there, which should do the job. This is the only thing I kind of remember, that I think you should start with castling first. But again, I have to have a look at exactly what was my solution here. Knight bd7 might be a bit of a better practical idea, because now I think white should take. Otherwise, black can even continue with queen e7 on the next move. So Haring started with knight bd7, and now Lucas played bishop b2 immediately, which is a good move, because now obviously knight takes e4 doesn't work because black hasn't castled yet. And with queen e7, it really starts to go wrong for black, because now Lucas castled queenset, which is another very good move. And now all of a sudden, black cannot really stop the pawns. The only thing, like, black really needs to blockade the white's pawns in the center. If he doesn't manage to do that, then he's gonna lose basically on the spot, like it happened in the game. So still, probably castling here is a bit better, but now I guess still white has the option to cast a queenside, which I don't think is what you want to allow. The king is quite safe on the queenside, and now white can just attack like crazy on the king side and doesn't really need to worry about his king. And after queen e7, I think here it's already like really bad. I don't know if black was thinking about taking on e4 here and then doing something like f5, but I don't think it should work. Like here, maybe some h3, a bishop h5, g4 doesn't appear like it should be any good for black. And same with bishop f5. Maybe I can also throw in g4 here, or just knight d2. Also looks like a good move here. If knight f6, there's bishop f6. So yeah, this just looks like it's losing on the spot. So having also castled queenside, but now just e5. And look at the white center. White should be already completely winning here. Tried knight h5, queen e4. Now knight df6, using the pin on the e file, but of course white doesn't take, just queen e3, and black's pieces are also not making the best impression here. Therefore, black also went back, knight d7. Lucas by d6, queen e6, h3. Take on f3, queen f3. Still the knight on h5 is actually pretty bad. Queen h6 check, king b1, rook e8. And I think here he just won the material with the combination g4, knight f4, bishop c1. And queen g6 check, king a1. Still, he got some pawns here with knight takes e5 and rook takes d6, but it should not be enough. If he goes back knight e6, I think just bishop g2 is ending the game on the spot. There's not even a defense to queen takes b7 here. So knight e5 was tried, but okay, it was a piece, and with the bishop pair and the king still being quite safe here, I don't think anything else interesting in particular happened. Lucas just won without that many problems. This was move 29, and his opponent resigned after move 36. So another, I think, flawless game from Dotzer, which is nice to see the way he's playing in that event. Also in this game, I think his time management was better than in the previous ones. This was the only thing which I think can be criticized so far from his play, that very often he's running low on the clock. In this game, of course, the preparation also played a key role because he was prepared for quite some time. But I think if he manages to work on that a bit more on his time management, his future is looking really good. That's what I can say here. But time management is gonna be really important to work on. Yeah, but anyway, congratulations for this very nice game. Looked really good, and of course also for the team, it was nice that they were able to win another match, which I think was already some rounds ago that they managed to win their match, and without this game, this wouldn't have happened. All right, so the next round, as I said, is today. Didn't even check who is Austria playing, but I'm gonna, as always, follow the games closely. And yeah, I think they haven't played against Slovenia, and they haven't played against Croatia. So one of those two teams is on the menu today for Austria. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more of me, you can head to the video description down below. Check out my courses, which I've done for all of different websites, and my chessable course is dropping soon, by the way, the German version, and after that soon I still need to record the English one, but announcements will follow. You can also follow my website, check out my website felixproberger.com for more information, and apart from that, I'll be back tomorrow for the highlight video of round number 8 of the Metropa Cup. Thank you guys, and see you then.